death, rebirth, transformation, destruction, and construction. Those are just some of the key words to describe the energy of Pluto. Now we are at a very, very, very pivotal point in time as Pluto is about to enter into Aquarius for good this year, in the year of 2024. Now you're probably wondering, well, what does this mean? What does it mean for me? I'm gonna get to all of that in this video and more, but suffice it to say that we are at a time where we are about to see, feel, and experience humanity shift in a way that it has never shifted before. This is a really important time for us as a collective and for us individually. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing everything you need to know about Pluto and Aquarius, the astrology, a little bit of the history, plus I'm gonna break down what it means for each individual rising sign, and I will be pulling a card for each sign for a message for this pivotal moment in history, all right? So if you wanna know more about all of these things, stick around. You definitely don't wanna miss it. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If this is our first time meeting, welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and healer, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So as you can tell by the title and that introduction, this video was all about Pluto in Aquarius. Now, at the time that I'm filming this video, Pluto is about to enter into Aquarius tomorrow. Well, let me say no, that would be in 2 days. Pluto will be entering Aquarius on January 20th or January 21st, depending on where you live, all right? And so we kind of got a taste of what Pluto in Aquarius is bringing us back in 2023. So between March and June, Pluto dipped its toes into Aquarius real quick. So whatever transpired around that time was likely a preview of what is to come over the next 20 years. Pluto is the farthest planet, and yes, for astrology purposes, it is a planet. It's the farthest planet in our solar system. It moves the slowest. But the interesting thing about Pluto is that it doesn't spend the exact same amount of time in each sign. It could spend as little as 10 years in one sign and as much as 40 years in another. And that all depends on some technical science stuff, which I won't get into in this video. However, we just got out of a 15-year Pluto cycle in Capricorn, and we're about to enter into a 20-year Pluto cycle or transit through Aquarius. So this is the year where we're sort of straddling the fence between Pluto in Capricorn and Pluto in Aquarius. And this is important because a lot of what is happening in society is sort of the macrocosm view of what's really going on with us individually. And the concept of society, the concept of the collective is only going to ramp up as Pluto moves and gets comfortable in the sign of Aquarius. But regardless of wherever Pluto is, one thing is for certain, Pluto is all about massive change. It's about transformation. It's about change that is permanent and profound, all right? So without further ado, let's get into the juicy details and see what this Pluto in Aquarius transit really has for us. So first things first, let's cover the basics and a little bit of history. And I'll try to keep this brief because Pluto, the energy of Pluto is intense and it is very deep and all-consuming. So if you, like any of, the other channels that have content similar to mine, you will see that everyone has lended their voice to this Pluto in Aquarius conversation, right? And there's a lot to be said about Pluto energy, but I just want to give an overview so that you really understand what the energy signature of Pluto is and how it's playing out at this point in history, all right? So, and if you see me looking down, I'm just looking down in my notes. I've got a lot of notes on this, so I want to make sure I cover everything. So, Pluto in and of itself is a very intense energy planet, all right? If there's one keyword that most people use to describe Pluto, it is transformation. Now, transformation can take on a lot of different facets, right? It can look and feel very different depending on the situation. But underlying the concept of transformation is death and rebirth. And that's where Pluto typically gets a bad reputation, because Pluto can signify profound endings. Typically, when we think of physical death, we think of the Pluto energy signature. However, always on the heels of death is rebirth, right? Or birth, right? It's this cycle. It's this cycle that we just keep going around, right? And so when we talk about Pluto making a move, we're talking about this energy of unearthing, because Pluto also represents things that are underneath the surface. Think about, in the traditional sense, like a funeral, right? And when, someone has died, and if they choose to be buried, they're buried underground, right? It's underground that a lot of things are laid to rest. It's also underground where a lot of things are discovered. And that's sort of the rebirth part of Pluto. Think about a gold mine or a diamond mine, right? It's underground, digging underground through the dirt, through all of this debris in order to find a jewel, right? So what's the juxtaposition of these two types of energy signatures that encompasses the energy of Pluto? Now, one of the other words I like to use to describe Pluto is destruction and, well, two words actually, destruction and construction. Whatever is no longer serving you, Pluto will decimate. And we've been experiencing this in the sign of Capricorn since 2008. It's this energy of authority, right? Because Capricorn represents structures. Capricorn represents tradition. Capricorn represents authority and the status quo even. And Pluto has been taking a wrecking ball to all of that since 2008. Think about what has transpired since then. One of the things that really caught my attention was the whole cryptocurrency movement and how the paper dollar or cash is dying out, and how this cryptocurrency movement is just gaining speed. And it's only going to reach a fever pitch once Pluto gets comfortable in Aquarius, right? Because Aquarius is all about the information age. It's also about technology. It's about the internet. So cryptocurrency and the death of the dollar has been something that Pluto in Capricorn has really made apparent to us, right? And we're also seeing, so that's the destructive part. The constructive part, you can think, is AI, artificial intelligence, and how that has been birthed in this time and will only ramp up as Pluto gets comfortable in Aquarius. So when you think about Pluto energy, it is about destruction, yet construction at the same time. Now, Aquarius as a sign is interesting, right? Because Aquarius energy, the energy signature of Aquarius is interesting. It's ruled by Saturn. It has two rulers. It's ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So Aquarius shares a ruler with Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled solely by Saturn. So Aquarius and Saturn, Aquarius and Capricorn kind of have a similarity in that they share a ruler. It's all about structure. But Capricorn is about building a structure based off of the past, structures that have taken time, structures that have a lot to do with tradition. Whereas Aquarius is kind of breaking free of that structure that was erected in Capricorn and being liberated and forming a new structure that's more in line with the future. So it's almost like Capricorn is backward looking while Aquarius is forward looking. And this is the line that we're straddling with this Pluto transit, okay? So Aquarius energy is liberation. It's also rebellion. And we're seeing that now. A lot of the wars that are taking place in the world, you're seeing a lot of rebellious outcry because of these wars, right? Politics and the structures of our government have been crumbling and are moving into a very new uncharted territory, which is only going to get weirder as Pluto gets comfortable in Aquarius, right? It's about breaking away and purging the old. This is one of the things that Pluto in Aquarius is bringing to us. It's this Capricorn-like things are going to be decimated, are going to be purged, are going to be deconstructed. only to be constructed in new and more innovative ways. Aquarius energy loves to innovate and invent. That's why we've seen AI come to the forefront, and new inventions are going to be popping up like roaches when you turn the light on, right? We're going to see technological advancements, the likes of which we've never seen before. And the fact that they're going to be brought to market a lot quicker is going to show us that many of us are going to have access to things we haven't had access to, particularly while Pluto was in Capricorn. So Capricorn has a lot to do with authority. And so it's almost like the resources were held. Well, of course, it's not like almost, they are. Resources are held by very few at the top. Capricorn has a lot to do with tradition. It has to do with hierarchy. It has to do with rank. And Pluto in Capricorn, which is decimating that. So a lot of the things that only certain groups of people had access to are now going to become accessible to the collective, to humanity, as Pluto gets comfortable in Aquarius, okay? It's also about radical shifts. And you're feeling this shift right now. Like, it is unavoidable how things are shifting. All you have to do is look on social media, look at the news, not for too long, but look at the news, watch the news and see how everything seems to be falling apart. And that's why so many people are fearful right now. But also understand, Capricorn energy also encompasses things like fear. Things that may limit us, things that may stifle our growth are also part of the Capricorn energy signature. And guess what? Pluto has been decimating that as well. So even though people may be feeling fear, a lot of people's fears are going to be quelled with the information and access that Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring. It's bringing things to life. Remember, Pluto unearths things. Pluto excavates things. A lot of things that have remained hidden, particularly information, is becoming known to us now. And that, like I said, assists us in not being so fearful and not living a life based off fear. Now, one of the things that I personally like the most about the Aquarian energy signature is that it represents consciousness. It represents the consciousness of the collective, and that is transforming. You see this, if you were to compare now to 2014 and what you're seeing on social media, it's night and day. I remember when I started on my spiritual journey and I really started getting into astrology, which was in 2012, I could barely find anyone talking about it. There were so few people who had come out of the spiritual closet that I felt like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? And, you know, all of those questions that come with that. However, if you look now, everyone's a healer. Everyone's into astrology and numerology. Everyone is into the esoteric. This information is representative of where the collective consciousness is going. It's elevating. And Pluto in Aquarius is just going to bring more of that to the forefront. And understand, remember I said Pluto unearths things. A lot of the collective consciousness that we're tapping into now is ancient. Don't let the phrase new age fool you. It's not new age. It's actually ancient. That's becoming unearthed. Pluto is unearthing these things and giving it to us when it gets into Aquarius. So now the collective consciousness is elevated. When I say that this is an exciting time to be alive, I ain't lying. Like, this is such an exciting time to be alive. All right. So let's talk a little history to understand what Pluto in Aquarius was like last time, so we know what to expect this time. So the last time that Pluto entered Aquarius was in 1778, and a lot of important things happened during the last Pluto in Aquarius transit. Things like the War for Independence between the United States and Great Britain, the Haitian Revolution between Haiti and France, the cotton gin was invented, the Bill of Rights were ratified, and most importantly, as it pertains to Aquarius, Uranus was discovered as a planet. So you can see that back in the day, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, we had rebellion that led to complete transformation of countries, right? We have the United States gaining independence from Great Britain. And we had Haiti gaining independence from France. Like, that's huge. Independence is huge. Very Pluto type of event. We also had some inventions, right? The cotton gin, which helped with the textile industry, which later led to the Industrial Revolution. That was a Pluto type of invention, right, in Aquarius, that changed the way that we made clothes and that we made things, period. And then we had the ruling planet of Aquarius being discovered in the time when Pluto was in Aquarius. So you get where I'm going with this? We have rebellion. We have countries changing forever. We have inventions and we have new discoveries, right? This is what we can expect this time around with Pluto in Aquarius. Now, one of the really interesting things that I learned in my research for this video was that Aquarius energy is very much about intelligence and technology. And a lot of times when we hear the word technology, we think about like physical products, like our phones, our computers, our laptops. Technology isn't just the hardware. Technology is sort of the ethos around advancement, right? And so Aquarius has a lot to do with technology and intelligence. And what's interesting is that in previous Pluto in Aquarius transits, new technologies not only were discovered, but different civilizations that had different types of intelligence were also discovered. So whether it was the Incas, the Mayas, it's like a new ideology was discovered and was unearthed whenever Pluto has been in Aquarius. So who knows what kind of civilizations we can uncover over the next 40 years? Perhaps civilizations, ancient civilizations that have been dormant for thousands of years. It may also spark new ways of communication with people. Part of technology has been communication, right? And so perhaps maybe we will even be able to communicate with different species going forward. The way that this Pluto in Aquarius transit can transpire is mind-blowing, to say the least. However, it's an advancement in intelligence, technology, breakthroughs, rebellions. By the time this transit is over in 2044, we may have new countries. We may have countries divided. We may be talking to animals, like in the sense that we can literally translate what they're saying. We may have flying houses at that point. You really don't know. The possibilities are endless with this particular transit. And it doesn't mean that it's just endless for society. It's endless for us also, because apart from just feeling and experiencing this transit on a humanitarian level, as Aquarius represents, we're going to be feeling this on a personal level as it pertains to wherever Aquarius is in our natal chart. And I'm going to get into all of that later in the video. However, I wanted to give you this brief preview or this brief explanation of what Pluto in Aquarius energy will look and feel like. All right. So now I want to talk about some important astrology related to this inception of Pluto in Aquarius. All right, so now let's talk current astrology. So the time that I'm filming this video, it is January 18th, and we are about to have a major development in this Pluto in Aquarius saga on January 20th or January 21st, depending on where you live. However, let's get a little breakdown first. So we got a taste of Pluto in Aquarius back in 2023 between March and June. Pluto literally just dipped its toe in and then dipped it right back out. However, 2024 is going to be the year where Pluto enters into Aquarius to stay for the next 20 years. So between January and September, Pluto will be in Aquarius. Between September and November, Pluto will dip back into Capricorn. And then from November onward is when Pluto will remain in Aquarius for the remainder of this particular transit. So it's this Pluto Capricorn dance that we've been doing since last year. And this is important because the way that Pluto works, or the way that I should say Saturn energy works, is important right now. Remember I said before, Aquarius and Capricorn share a ruler, which is Saturn. So we kind of have to understand Saturn a little bit to understand how this Pluto and Aquarius transit is really going to play out. Now, the one thing I will say about this Saturnian energy, it's that it is the gatekeeper between the limited and the limitless. This is the story that's playing out astrologically right now. The limited is that Capricorn energy, and the limitless is that Aquarian energy. So we've been doing this dance between limited and limitless since last year and into this year, right? And once we get into Pluto and Aquarius for good, we're going to be full steam ahead with that limitless kind of energy. So for now, we're straddling the fence and we're figuring out where we've been limited, where we can soar and expand, what has been holding us back, what do we need to break out of, both as a human society, as a collective, and individually. So for this, you're going to want to see where Capricorn and Aquarius are in your natal chart. And this is where this dance between the limited and the limitless is playing out. Now, to kick off this whole saga, right, is a very important astrological event, which is going down on January 20th or January 21st. And that is that the sun will conjoin Pluto. Pluto and the sun will be like this. They'll be right next to each other. And for a little time, they will be traveling through the sky together. Now, I explained this in a previous video about Mars and the sun doing the same thing. It's called a synodic cycle. When two planets kind of join up and then they start moving in the sky together and then they move apart. Measuring and analyzing the relationship between these two planets is known as the synodic cycle. And so Pluto is entering a new synodic cycle as it pertains to the sun. Now, this Pluto-Sun conjunction or the Sun-Pluto conjunction is important because it literally kicks off Pluto entering Aquarius kind of for good, okay? It energizes Pluto. Think about anything that is left out in the sun. It gets hot, right? The sun is heating up those Pluto-like qualities right at the very end of Capricorn. So between these 2 days, the sun and Pluto are going to meet up at the 29th degree of Capricorn. And then together, they're going to move to the 0 degree of Aquarius. So for 2, give or take 3 degrees, the sun and Pluto are moving together. And again, the sun is going to energize that Pluto energy. Not to mention that the 29th degree of any sign is a critical degree. It's known as the anaretic degree, and it's the fever pitch degree. It's when things get their most heightened. It's the most intense degree of the 30 degrees of any sign, all right? So this weekend, I want you to keep your eyes open. And if you are watching this video after January 20th or 21st, think back to January 20th and January 21st to see what transpired. Because this is literally going to kick off this transit in a major sort of way, all right? Again, the sun is going to be energizing Pluto. Pluto is going to be doing the most, being really intense, really ending things, especially when both planets are at the 29th degree of Capricorn. When they both move into Aquarius, it's like boom, like shit is going to start. It's like a car backfiring, essentially. Like it's really going to be intense with this transit, okay? So take heed. There may be things that are ending, but an ending for good. However, it's leaving room for new things, or you are about to enter this transformative time of birthing something new. Keep in mind that Pluto energy is also creative. Pluto energy very much has to do with the libido and sex, and we all realize that sex is creative energy. When things are destroyed, new things are created, but the destruction and the construction are both part of the creative process. So you gotta let whatever is going go, and you should embrace whatever is trying to be birthed at this time. And trust and believe, it's not gonna be subtle. It's gonna be right in your face. It's gonna be like a neon sign. So keep your eyes open, pay attention, and go with the flow. Allow yourself to release what no longer serves you and embrace what is trying to be birthed at this time, all right? What's also interesting is that 2024 is the lead up to 2025, and 2025 is when shit really goes down. Between end of 2024 and throughout 2025, all of the outer planets are going to enter new signs. So if you think this time is real shifty, wait until 2025 when Uranus, let me see, when Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are all going to be changing signs. And Pluto is ushering in this change in 2024 when it moves into Aquarius. So 2024 is really the lead up. So buckle up, Buttercup. Things are about to get a bit rocky between now and 2026. And that's not to scare you. It's to let you know that we are at a time in history when things are radically changing. And that should make you kind of happy. Because the way that things have been going, they've been going the way that they've been going for a while, but imagine the new possibilities. Imagine the access. Imagine the abundance, the change, the wealth. Because guess what? Pluto also has to do with money. It has to do with wealth. Remember I said before, Pluto unearths things. It's like unearthing a diamond mine, right? And this is the change that's at our disposal right now. So all of that being said, pay attention to what happens between January 20th and 21st as this new cycle kicks off. Like, this is such an amazing time to be alive. All right. So now let's talk about what this means for you specifically. I'm going to go through each zodiac sign with respect to how this particular transit will affect you. And I'm going to pull a card for each sign so that you guys get some messages from spirit. All right, let's get into it. All right, my loves. So let's get into each individual zodiac sign. And remember, this is by rising sign. If you need to figure out your rising sign, I'll leave the information in the description box below to help you out with that. All right. So of course, we start at the beginning and we start with Aries. So for you, Aries, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 11th house of friendship and goals. So your friendships, your associations, your networking groups, and how you interact with these people or these groups is going to undergo a major transformation with this transit. Additionally, your goals and ambitions, what they are, what you think about them, and how you plan for the future is going to change beginning now and over the next 20 years. All right, so let's pull a card for you and see what we have. All right, we have this card called Sacrifice, and it is actually the Hanged Man card. So I feel like at this time, things may not be moving when it comes to, like your goals, like you may be feeling stagnant, or maybe when it comes to your friendships, maybe you're not talking to your friends as much. Maybe you've been feeling isolated. All of that is to give you a different perspective because you are going to undergo a very significant perspective shift once Pluto stays in Aquarius, okay? And so if things are a little stagnant now, don't worry. Things are going to be moving in the near future. However, be prepared for them to move in a different direction or for you to be shown something completely different in this area of life. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. So for you, Taurus, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 10th house of career and public life. So your career trajectory, your business, if you own one, your public image, your reputation, all of these are going to be transformed significantly when Pluto moves into Aquarius. All right. So for you, let's get a card and see what we have. Okay, we have the Etheric Realms card, all right? And this is the card of the moon in the major arcana of the tarot. So the moon can be a little illusory, right? It can also be about our subconscious. So for you, Taurus, this is really a time for you to examine what are your beliefs? What are your beliefs about work, about business, about your reputation? What is in your subconscious? Because understand that Pluto will unearth all of those. And you want to make sure that whatever's going on in the inside is what you want reflective on the outside. So if you have any emotional hangups, if you have wounds, traumas with respect to career, business, or your reputation, you're going to want to address them now so that when Pluto really gets into Aquarius, you are operating on a program that is conducive to the career or the business or the reputation that you really want. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. So for you, Gemini, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 9th house of higher education and long distance travel. The 9th house is also the house of spirituality. And so this Pluto in Aquarius transit may really be a time where you are experiencing a spiritual awakening, or perhaps the way that you believe in the world, the way that you even see or experience the world is really going to change dramatically, okay? There's no reason to be afraid of this. Just be prepared to have your mind blown, essentially, all right? So let's get a card for you and see what we have. All right, we've got divine guidance, which is the sun in the major arcana, right? So it is your time to shine. I also feel like throughout this Pluto in Aquarius transit, a lot of truths are going to be revealed to you. Perhaps these truths may be what changes your religion, changes your faith, changes your spirituality. Either way, I feel like this is a time of conscious enlightenment for you. All right, interesting stuff. Next up, we've got Cancer. So for you, Cancer, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 8th house of shared resources and intimacy. Now, the 8th house can be a little tricky because it can represent our repressed emotions. It can represent intimacy and sex. It also represents debt. D-E-B-T, debt. So perhaps the monetary debt that you owe. But by and large, the 8th house also covers our debt that we owe karmically. So our soul contracts that we may have with others. Maybe you're on the receiving end, and now it's time for you to be on the giving end of that contract, or vice versa. Either way, this is the house where you are going to be experiencing a profound transformation, all right? So the card for you, Cancer, is Etheric Realms. So you guys also have the Moon card. This is all about your subconscious. And this is perfect for the 8th house because the 8th house can represent what is under the surface, what is mysterious, our repressed emotions. This transit is going to be deeply personal for you. And it may be, I don't want to use the word painful, but it may require a lot of growing pains because you're really unearthing what is your subconscious programming. All right. Now, as a water sign, this may be something that comes somewhat natural to you. However, because Pluto is so intense and really plunges the depth of our emotions and our psyche, this is going to be a very deep transformation for you. All right. So much is to be learned. You kind of just have to traverse the bottom of the ocean to get to it. All right. Next up, we've got Leo. So for you, Leo, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 7th house of commitments and partnerships. This is the house of marriage, business partnerships, all of that. And so this is the area of life that is going to have a profound transformation. Now understand that whenever we have a personal transformation, whatever is going on with us is reflected back to us in our relationships. So as this area of life changes, you're going to notice that your relationships start to change, even if you remain in the same relationship throughout this transit. So perhaps how you think about relationships or planning for your relationships into the future is what is going to be transformative for you over the next 20 years. All right. So for you, Leo, let's get a card here. We have the Awakening card, which is the Judgment card in the Tarot. So hopefully you guys can see that. Sorry. Beautiful card. It's very reflective. So this is the Judgment card. So this may be a time when your true self really comes to the forefront. Who you authentically are. Beautiful, ugly, everything that encompasses you is going to come up. And that is going to be reflected via your partnerships and your commitments, okay? This transit in Pluto is going to be very reflective for you. So keep that in mind. Anytime that things start to get very shifty in your relationships and you want to blame your partner, you might want to take a look within first. That's going to clue you in as to what's changing or perhaps what needs changing. All right, next up, we've got Virgo. So Virgo, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 6th house of work and health. So this is the area of life that's going to be experiencing a profound transformation. So when it comes to work, particularly how you work, especially with Aquarius being the sign of innovation, technology, and intelligence, perhaps the way that you perform your job, the way that you are of service to people is really going to start using different technology, maybe different apps, different AI integrations that may come about that may really revolutionize the way that you work or how you work. Now, when it comes to health, this may be about your mental health since Aquarius is an air sign. So how you think, your mental well-being may be transforming while Pluto is in Aquarius. Or maybe this is just a topic that you haven't addressed in a long time that will come to the forefront during this transit. All right. Let's get a card for you, Virgo, and see what we have. All right. We have memoirs. This is the Death card. All right. Please don't get upset. This may not be a physical death. This just may be some sort of an ending. And I really feel like it's an ending with it's an ending to the way that you used to do things, the things that you do on a regular basis, your job, even the way that you used to, address your health. It's ending. I feel like you're at a place where you have a clean slate in order to do things differently in these areas of your life. And these changes are going to be for the better. So if something is ending, maybe a job is ending, okay? And as uncomfortable as that may be, it is literally paving the way for something new to be created. So please don't get scared. Please just try to embrace whatever changes are coming about because they are ultimately for your highest good. All right. Next up, we've got Libra. So for you, Libra, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 5th house of romance, children, and self-expression. So when we talk about the 5th house, this is the fun house. This is the house that has this childlike energy. It's the house where you deal with romantic partners. It's also the house where you express yourself uniquely. So perhaps the way that you're going to be expressing yourself uniquely may change, right? Maybe you may start to be more of yourself, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. Perhaps the way that you date, the way that you meet people is going to change, particularly with all of these technological advancements. Maybe for some of you, who knows, there may be some sort of technological advance when it comes to conceiving children that you may partake in within the next 20 years, all right? Either way, this is the area of life that's going to experience a profound transformation. So let's pick a card for you, Libra, and see what we've got. All right, Libra, we've got the card that says soulmates, all right? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Perhaps you are going to meet someone, especially in the realm of romance, that will really change your life. Now, soulmates usually come with lessons. Soulmates are here to teach us certain things about ourselves. For some of you, this soulmate may be your child. Your child or your children may be the ones to teach you the most about yourself. Either way, these lessons are going to be hella profound. All right. Next up, we've got Scorpio. So for Scorpio, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your 4th house of home and family. So home may be your physical home, your residence, maybe property that you own. And family is typically your close family members, like parents or grandparents even, right? So this is the area of life where you're going to experience a major transformation. This could be close family members passing away or new family members being born. This could be moving. This could be building a new home. This could be leaving a home, right? So let's get a card for you and see what else Spirit has to say. Okay, we've got the Divine Guidance card, which is the Sun. So I'm hearing son as in like son and daughter. I don't know if a son is going to be born, but something about a son, perhaps the male lineage of a family is going to come into focus. There may be a transformation with that. But I also think the sun illuminates things and energizes things. So there may be a change, particularly a change with your home or your family that may be sparked by this Pluto conjunct the sun transit that is happening January 20th to 21st. So keep your eyes open for that. But either way, things are going to become a lot more apparent to you in this arena of life. All right. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. And so for you, Sagittarius, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your third house of ideas and communication. So for you, things are about to get very, very busy. Anytime we have a transit through our third house, activity ramps up, particularly mental activities and communicative activities. So the way that you think, the way that you learn, the way that you communicate with others is going to be transformed profoundly. And that makes sense because Aquarius being a sign of information and intelligence, this is directly going to affect your mental faculties. So things are about to ramp up. The way that you think is going to change, the way that you communicate with people, and it's all around going to be a busy 20 years for you. All right. So let's get a card for you, Sagittarius, and see what we've got. All right. We have the Self. And this is the Strength card in the Major Arcana. So I feel like your sense of self is going to be strengthened. It's almost like this change of your mind, of the way you think, of the way you communicate. I feel like you're going to be able to communicate a lot more effectively, a lot more confidently, and allow who you really are to shine through. I also feel like for some of you, the next 20 years may provide unique opportunities for teaching others by example. So living your life, living your best life, living life as the best version of yourself is really going to teach people how to do the same. So dare I say, Sagittarius, you guys are going to be in the limelight perhaps over the next 20 years, where people are really going to be taking notice of not only who you are, but what you have to say and your ideas. All right. Next up, we've got Capricorn. Now, Capricorn, you're really going to like this because for you, this Pluto in Aquarius transit is going down in your second house of money. So how you make money is going to radically change. How you even think of money or how you plan for money in the future, or how you plan presently for the future as it pertains to money and value, is going to undergo a radical transformation. So some of you may be changing jobs. You may even be changing careers. However, I feel like it's the particular way in which you make money that's going to change. And I feel like that is going to be brought on by technology. So whatever new technology, whatever information we now become privy to with this Pluto and Aquarius transit, I really think that it's going to affect your bottom line, point blank, period. And I know y'all love to hear that because y'all are some money loving Capricorns. All right. So let's pick a card for you and see what Spirit has to say. We've got the Sacred Space, and this is the Empress card in the Major Arcana. Money, abundance, security. These are the themes that are going to be very important to you as Pluto gets comfortable in Aquarius. It's almost like having a nest egg, having a safe space where your money, where your assets and the things that you value can grow is going to be the wave for you beginning in 2024 and beyond throughout the next 20 years. All right. So create that special space, create that sacred space where what you value can grow, whether it's a nest egg, whether it's a 401k, whatever it is, put your assets and your belongings in a safe, protected space so that they can grow. All right. Next up, we've got Aquarius. And Aquarius, for you, clearly you guys are going to be affected the most by this sign. It's actually going to be you, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. You guys are going to really feel this Pluto in Aquarius transit. But for you, Aquarius, it's going down in your first house of self. It is you who are changing. Your mindset is going to change. Your outlook on life is going to change. Perhaps even your physical body is going to change, all right, over the next 20 years. So get comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable because things in your personal vicinity are really going to change and transform. What was not available to you before may now become available. It's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to be like the butterfly and transform. You're going from the caterpillar to the butterfly. Not necessarily the easiest or the most comfortable transformation, but perhaps one of the most beautiful. Okay. Let's get a card for you and see what we have here. All right. We've got this card called Ether, and this is the Magician in the Major Arcana. You have all the tools at your disposal to really make a change. This change is very personal and it is self-directed. Now, your ruling planet or one of your ruling planets is Uranus, so things can be a little surprising or a little sudden at times. However, understand that you hold the magic wand. You dictate what changes and what doesn't. This is a time of harnessing your personal power in order to project it as you wish and as you please. So understand that you control things, and this may be a new cycle in your life where you are unearthing your personal power. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. So for you Pisces, this is also going to be a very profound inner change. And I use the word inner purposefully because this is going down in your 12th house of solitude and confinement. Now, don't get it twisted. The 12th house is not necessarily one of the best houses. However, it is where true transformation takes place at the subconscious level, okay? This is going to be a deeply spiritual, personal, and internal period for you Pisces, because you are basically changing your inner workings, your inner program, your inner foundation, how you imagine, how you visualize, how you think about the future, and how your mind interplays with your soul is what this transit will bring for you. Deeply personal and will allow you to really change from the inside out. So let's get a card for you Pisces and see what's really good. We've got divine guidance again, and I am shuffling these cards just so you know. So this is the Sun in the Tarot. A lot is going to be enlightened. A lot is going to enlighten you, but it's going to come from the inside out. So if you're looking for outside answers, if you're looking for outside validation, you're looking in the wrong place. You need to be looking inward. And this sort of Pluto transit is really going to make you do that. Looking inward, focusing inward, and changing your inner world so that the outer world is reflective of who you truly are. But this is going to be a 20-year cycle of complete illumination and enlightenment. All right, my loves. So that concludes this video on the upcoming Pluto in Aquarius transit. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into these next 20 years. All right. For information on my products and services, all of that is in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing Pluto in Aquarius transit, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.